There's a part of you that you don't want to admit exists. It's the version of you that feels jealous of your friend's success, secretly judges strangers, fantasizes about revenge, or wants to quit everything and run. You bury it. You act like you're above it, but it keeps leaking out. In your tone, your choices, your relationships. This is your shadow, and pretending it isn't there is exactly what gives it power. Tonight, we're going straight into that dark territory. Not to shame it, not to glorify it, but to understand it so deeply that it no longer has to sabotage your life from the background. If you've ever thought, why did I say that? Why did I do that? That's not me. This video is for you. Stay with me, because by the end you'll have a practical roadmap for integrating your shadow, transforming it from an enemy into a powerful ally. Before we dive into methods, we need to understand what the shadow actually is and why it matters. The term comes from Carl Jung, who described the shadow as the parts of ourselves we reject, deny, or simply never learn to see. It's not just bad traits, it also includes disowned strength, power, and desire. In this video, we'll explore how your shadow is formed, how it secretly shapes your decisions, and concrete techniques to meet it without being overwhelmed. We'll walk through projections, triggers, envy, anger, shame, journaling practices, dreams, and body-based approaches, step by step, so you can start immediately. If you're serious about self-awareness, hit subscribe and tap the notification bell so you don't miss future deep dives like this. And stay with me until the end, because the final sections will help you weave everything into a simple daily integration ritual you can actually stick with. Let's start with a clear definition. Your shadow is everything about you that your conscious identity says, that's not me. It's built from childhood onward, when you were praised for being good, polite, easy, or strong. Those traits were allowed in the light. When you were shamed for being too much, too needy, too angry, or too sensitive, those parts were pushed into the dark. Over time, you built a story. I'm the helpful one. I'm the smart one. I'm the chill one. Anything that doesn't fit that story gets exiled into the shadow. But here's the twist. The shadow doesn't disappear. It just goes unconscious. It shows up in your slips of the tongue, your impulsive reactions, your fantasies, and the roles you compulsively play. Shadow integration doesn't mean becoming someone else. It means becoming whole, aware of both the light and the dark operating within you. So how does the shadow actually form in real life, beyond theory? Imagine a child who naturally feels anger when something is unfair. If the adults say, "Stop being so dramatic," or punish anger, the child learns. Anger equals unlovable. To protect connection, the psyche buries anger. The child becomes the easygoing one, or a kid who loves attention and performance is told, "Don't be so full of yourself." They learn to tone down, becoming modest, but secretly crave being seen. Each of us has a unique pattern like this. Culture, religion, family rules, trauma, and even school all send messages about which emotions and impulses are acceptable. Shadow work begins by asking, what did I have to hide to be safe, loved, or accepted? These exiled parts don't just sit quietly. They resurface as anxiety, perfectionism, passive aggression, people-pleasing, or unexplained resistance when you try to change your life. One of the clearest ways to spot your shadow is through projection. Projection means you unconsciously see in others what you can't or won't see in yourself. It's like putting your shadow on a movie screen made of other people. If you insist, "I'm never angry," you might constantly notice how aggressive everyone else is. If you think, "I'm not selfish," you might be obsessed with how everyone is so self-centered. Projections can be negative or positive. Sometimes you idolize people who seem confident or creative, not realizing you're actually seeing your own disowned potential. A powerful question is, what qualities in others most trigger or fascinate me beyond what makes sense? Write a list of the traits, then ask, where might this live in me even 5%? This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about reclaiming ownership. When you withdraw projections, relationships become clearer and your inner world becomes more honest. Another reliable compass to your shadow is your triggers, the moments you react way bigger than the situation seems to warrant. Think of times you felt a surge of rage, shame, panic, or disgust over something relatively small, a late text, a subtle criticism, someone not thanking you. The conscious mind says, it's because of what they did. But the intensity usually belongs to an older wound and a disowned part of you. Instead of judging your reaction, treat it as data. Ask yourself in the moment or soon after, what did I feel underneath my first reaction? When have I felt this way before earlier in life? What did I make this situation mean about me? Often you'll uncover a hidden belief like, I don't matter, I'm powerless, or I'm unlovable. Attached to that belief is a younger version of you, part of your shadow, still trying to protect you in clumsy ways. Let's talk about one of the most uncomfortable but useful shadows, envy. We're taught that envy is ugly, so we deny it, but envy is actually a roadmap. It shows you where your disowned desires and unlived life are hiding. When you scroll social media and feel that sting about someone's career, relationship, creativity, confidence, pause before you judge them or yourself. Ask, what does this person's life represent that I secretly want? Is it freedom, visibility, financial safety, adventure, deep connection? Then ask, where did I learn that wanting this was wrong, unrealistic, or selfish? Envy becomes toxic when it stays unconscious. Conscious envy, owned envy, can become inspiration and direction. You don't have to want the exact thing they have, but the emotion is signaling a lost part of you that's still alive, waiting to be acknowledged and integrated into your choices now. Anger and aggression are classic shadow material, especially if you grew up needing to be nice or good. Anger itself is not the problem, it's a signal. A boundary has been crossed, or something important is being ignored. When anger is exiled into the shadow, it doesn't disappear. It becomes passive aggression, simmering resentment, or sudden explosive outbursts. Shadow integration means learning to own your anger as information, without letting it run the show. Next time you feel anger, try this. Name it explicitly. I'm angry. Locate it in your body, chest, jaw, fists. Ask, what value or boundary is this protecting? Ask, what would healthy direct expression look like? You might realize you need to say no, renegotiate something, or finally tell the truth. Healthy anger is part of your power. When owned and integrated, it becomes clarity, assertiveness, and the courage to protect what matters. If anger is one side of the shadow, shame is the glue that holds the whole structure together. Shame says something is wrong with me. It's deeper than guilt, which says I did something wrong. Chronic shame makes you hide, overperform, or overgive to compensate. Many shadow traits are wrapped in shame: sexuality, neediness, laziness, ambition, vulnerability. Anything that once got you mocked or rejected might still carry an invisible "do not show" label. To work with shame, you first need to name it. Notice when you feel the urge to disappear, change the subject, or attack yourself internally. Try this reframe. This feeling is shame, not truth. It's a story I learned, not who I am. Then ask, whose voice is this originally? A parent, teacher, culture? Shame starts dissolving when it's brought into compassionate awareness, witnessed without rushing to fix it. That's where integration begins. Now let's move into practical shadow work through journaling. Writing is powerful because it slows your mind down enough to see what's usually automatic. Here's a simple shadow journaling sequence you can use. 1. Trigger log. Each day, write down one moment you felt jealous, angry, ashamed, or defensive. Just describe what happened. 2. Voice of the shadow. Then write from the part of you that reacted. Let it rant uncensored. I hate it when. I'm so tired of. Don't be polite. 3. curious witness. Finally, switch perspective. Write as a compassionate observer. I see that this part is trying to protect me from. This three-step process separates you from the shadow without disowning it. You create space to listen instead of being hijacked. Over time, patterns emerge, repeated stories about worth, safety, love. Those patterns point directly to the core material you're ready to integrate. Dreams are another rich portal into the shadow because your conscious filters are relaxed. In dreams, the parts of you ignore or deny often show up as characters. The angry stranger, the seductive figure, the helpless child, the ruthless boss. Jung called these autonomous complexes. They behave like mini personalities. When you remember a vivid dream, write it down immediately, then ask for each major character. If this was a part of me, what would it represent? The terrifying intruder might be your disowned power. The annoying relative could be your own neediness. The wise guide may be your deeper intuition. You don't have to interpret perfectly. The key is entering into relationship with these images instead of dismissing them. You can even dialogue in writing. What do you want me to know? And then free write an answer from the character's perspective. This keeps your relationship with the unconscious alive and evolving. Shadow integration isn't just mental, it's deeply physical. Your body stores patterns of tension, flinching, collapse, and aggression that mirror your shadow material. If you've always had to be in control, you might hold your jaw tight, shoulders rigid. If you've learned to stay small, your chest may cave inward. Try a brief embodied practice. Recall a recent trigger. Notice exactly where your body reacts: throat, stomach, back. Instead of distracting yourself, bring gentle attention and slow breathing into that area. Ask silently, if this place could speak, what would it say? And let images or words arise. You can also experiment with movement, stomping, shaking, pushing gently against a wall, or expanding your chest and arms. Let your body show you the energies you've suppressed. This isn't about performance. It's about allowing previously banned impulses to be felt safely, so they no longer have to erupt unconsciously. All of this work can feel intense, so it's important to approach shadow integration ethically and safely. First, this is not about self-attack. You're not digging for flaws. You're discovering exiled parts that once had to protect you. Second, know your limits. If you have a trauma history, intense dissociation, or thoughts of self-harm, working with a qualified therapist, especially one familiar with trauma and parts work, is essential. Shadow work is powerful, and support matters. Third, move at the speed of trust. You don't need to dismantle your whole personality overnight. Choose one pattern at a time. People-pleasing, explosive anger, chronic jealousy. Get curious about that. And finally, balance the dark with the light. Integrating shadow also means reclaiming hidden gifts: leadership, sexuality, creativity, assertiveness. Make space to celebrate what you're recovering, not just what you're confronting. Integration is a long relationship, not a weekend project. Let's pull this together into a few core takeaways you can actually remember. First, your shadow is not just a bin of bad traits. It's everything about you that had to go underground so you could belong. Pain and power, wounds and gifts. Second, the shadow reveals itself through projection, triggers, envy, anger, shame, dreams, and your body. Whenever your reaction is bigger than the situation, or you're intensely obsessed or repelled by someone, that's a sign to look inward. Third, integration is an ongoing dialogue. Through journaling, dreamwork, and somatic practices, you learn to listen to these disowned parts, understand what they're protecting, and offer them new roles. Finally, the goal isn't to become perfectly pure or endlessly positive. It's to become honest and whole, capable of holding complexity without splitting yourself into good me and bad me. Owning your shadow gives you freedom to choose instead of being secretly controlled by what you refuse to see. If this resonates with you, don't let it just be an interesting idea. Turn it into a practice. Here's a simple starting ritual. Once a day, pick one moment that stirred you, a trigger, an envy spike, a shame spiral. Take 5 minutes to journal using the 3 steps we covered. Describe the event, let the shadow voice speak, then respond as the compassionate witness. Add one body check-in. Where do I feel this? And breathe there for a minute. Do this consistently for a month and watch what patterns surface. If you found this video helpful, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss upcoming deep dives on inner work, relationships, and healing. Share this with someone who's ready to meet more of themselves. And in the comments, tell me, what's one shadow pattern you're starting to recognize? Naming it publicly is a powerful first step in owning your dark side instead of letting it own you.